Well, good evening. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Thank you for coming, Ruth and Donna. It was really obviously a treat, and I think that the whole election thing that's going on right now is pretty dire straits here in California. But I really appreciate your honesty and the job that you're doing. All the way from San Diego? Excellent, excellent. Okay, a couple of things. I just thought I'd pull a few things out of the hats for you. How many of you have bicycles? Come on, be honest. How many of you have bicycles? Well, you'd be nice to know that you're not in Oregon. Oregon, Kate Brown, if you have a bicycle that's $200 or more, $15 tax. There you go. So for all of you people who wanted the bike lanes, all this other stuff, guess what? You're going to get taxed for riding a bicycle. Because as you know, if it's happening in Oregon, it's going to happen in California too, right? So there you have it. How many thought that was never going to happen in Oregon or anywhere? Well, you guys are pretty optimistic. Any questions, first of all, before I get into some of this stuff? Any questions? Come on now. No questions? I'm feeling great. Carla.
Did you know it's racist to clean up the poop? People poop on the streets?
I believe that's so. Some places like San Francisco.
Yes. They said it's racist to have not clean streets.
Yeah. Okay, well, next question about California. Anything? No, just a couple of things that pop up in my world. I keep getting this question all the time, so I'm going to try and lay this thing to rest for you. That I always hear this thing about Donald Trump's in office, so Donald Trump should be doing this and Donald Trump should be doing that. Yada, yada, yada. Why hasn't Donald Trump done this yet? And I was just on a nationally broadcast show just before I came over here, and that was the question I got. Again, I keep getting it. And now let me be clear about something. Now this just happened to be in the New York Times today. This will give you some idea of what we're talking about here. Now I'm a former bureaucrat, right? Superintendent, all that. I know about bureaucracies. And when you take something over as a new administration coming in, it takes a long time. It takes 4 years actually in the school business to get your administration right in 4 years. Let alone thinking about the president and what he has to do. So here you go. This is from the New York Times. Give you the comparison and you'll understand why people are still running around wanting to investigate Russia, Russia, Russia. Top jobs in Trump's administration are mostly vacant. And I'm not going to tell you who they're blaming, but this is the New York Times. Who do you think they're blaming? Okay. But this is the way it's worked. At this point in time, 25 weeks into each two administrations, confirmed by the Senate, at this time, Obama had 126 of his highest officers confirmed at this time. Today, Donald Trump has 33 nominated or announced. That was still continuing. Some more that were going to be announced or that were announced and nominated. Obama had 43 that were nominated and announced, and right now Trump has 57. Empty seats in the administration. Obama at this point in time, 41. Donald J. Trump, 120. Yeah, how many of you take that $300,000? But you know, our good friend, Scott Adams, we're moving the operation of Red State Talk Radio from Independence Hall area in Philadelphia to Washington, D.C. And he just rented a nice little place for he and his wife for $3,200 a month. But it's a big balcony, that's what they told me. I said that big balcony fills up with snow in the winter. Okay, bike taxes and so on. For those of you didn't hear, right now they did announce that the Obama appeal for Obamacare is dead as of this afternoon. Have you heard that? No. Why are you clapping for that? You still have the 23 taxes of Obamacare. The repeal is dead. It's not going to be voted on. So the Republicans have failed to deliver for Donald Trump. Forget about McCain being injured. They have failed. So that's dead. Let's see. I did that one. Okay, my favorite subject, Jerry Brown. Okay, I had the opportunity to talk to several legislative staffs today, and it's kind of interesting. Scott Bennett taught me how to do this, and we went on this rampage when Benghazi was going on and all this stuff about Scott Bennett. We were calling, people in Washington and state of California and all this stuff, and getting like bigwig people on the phone, and we were Skyping them and then recording them. So we have all these people recorded on various things that they said that they were going to do for staff members. And so we started that little trip today. And it was kind of interesting. How many are familiar with cap and trade? Oh, yeah. Any businesses that are, how many of you are businesses that are subjected to cap and now the trade? Some clarifiers on cap and trade. It's an extension, AB 32, as you recall, has been extended to 2018, I think. And so also a new bill that's come in by Garcia. That's the one that's the most contentious, so that's the trade portion of it. And the trade portion talks about carbon credits. How many are familiar with carbon credits? Anybody deal with carbon credits in your business right now? How many of you out there know that we all in this room deposit about 120 tons of carbon each year? I weigh a lot, but okay, I'm a science guy, and I can tell you I have no idea how to quantify that number. And I've called up some of my science buddies that are like really science geeks that really know what they're doing, and I say, have you ever? How can that happen? And they say it's impossible. It's a bogus number, but that's what Governor Jerry Moonbeam believes. So anyway, isn't it interesting? It's Monday for moon, and we're talking about Moonbeam. I'm sorry, elected officials usually leave, Donna, just to let you know when I start to hear my stuff. Where's Andy though? Andy's getting show prep right now. In fact, he was earlier. Okay, so here's the trade part of it. And for those of you involved in the cap and trade, this is what is going down and what was happening on Thursday when Jerry Brown showed up and absolutely went ballistic in the Senate hearing. I don't know if you heard this or listened to my radio show this morning. We were all over it. The man is unhinged. Now, I want to tell you that I have heard this so many times over the last 3 years about him being unhinged, but I'll tell you what, on our website we have the whole video. You can see it. He is absolutely unhinged. I mean, it is absolutely amazing what we're hearing. Oh, no, Pelosi's a piker, trust me. Come on. This guy has real control, real power. Pelosi doesn't. That's the problem. He's a raving lunatic. I mean that. I'm saying that right now there's something really wrong with Jerry Brown, emotionally, psychologically. The totalitarian thing has taken over. And so anyway, he was ranting and raving, pointing at the crowd, turning around, my life, your life, it's just unbelievable stuff, trying to get his point across. Now, I asked the simple question. He went to a hearing in the Senate to be a witness. So this is one of the reasons why I called all these different groups, these different staffers and different senators from Southern California to Northern California, members of the Assembly. And I said to them, let's think about this. I said, has anybody ever thought, or is it just Agenda 21 radio, all of a sudden we think of these things? How often has a governor come to be a witness in a Senate hearing? How many times have you seen a president go into a Senate hearing in Washington, D.C., or a member of the House of Representatives to testify? Oh my God. You said what? Yes. And so I asked some questions of some of these staffers today. I said, don't we have laws about that? Shouldn't we have separation of power? Never occurred to anybody, Republican and, well, Democrats it did. They don't care. This was a complete display of lawlessness and a violation of our Constitution as Californians and the Constitution of the United States. That's what that was last Thursday. Besides seeing a raving lunatic in action, which is truly, I think the man's totally unbalanced about this, not just about the bill, but about his behavior. It was so bizarre and strange. So that's what we have right now leading us off the cliff. Plus, we also have a what? We have a mono-party system. And these people that are in play, Alex Padilla, Javier Becerra, and others, these people have an agenda, and they have been trained to run through their agenda, and it's the La Raza agenda. That is more and more and more evident every single day. And I invite you, what's that? Yes. Thank you. Bill was listening to my show apparently. They've changed their name from La Raza to what, Bill? Unidos US. Yes. That's what La Raza is all about. I don't think they've changed their behavior. Do you, Ruth? No. They haven't. They still, and this is the racist part of it that drives me nuts, they still don't like white people. And they're very upfront with that. If you've ever worked with, Ruth's going, San Diego, yeah. How many, have you ever seen the things where they're telling how the whites are going to be exterminated in San Diego? The flyers?
I majored in Spanish in college. I went to a lot of courses that were mostly La Raza people. And they just outright said stuff. I mean, didn't even care that I was there. And I felt very unsafe quite often.
Well, so much for, Unidos US. That's the new name for the racist, bigoted group called La Raza. And, we had, you remember the guy who showed up here that one night from Sacramento and been to that meeting and was terrified because they were talking about killing white Americans. And that was coming from some of our state leaders. Now, I got some new people here who haven't heard me speak, and they're going, oh my God. But isn't that true, ladies and gentlemen? We had a visitor who showed up to tell us, and he was scared. He came to the Tea Party to tell us because he was scared.
Tell him that he's Hispanic that showed up and told him.
Oh yeah, he's Hispanic. And I've since talked to him for many, many hours, and it's very frightening what the plan is. I've seen the video. He had a video, and he showed me the video of all this stuff and heard the comments. This is being planned in Sacramento with the advice and consent of the Mexican government. They were there. This is what we're dealing with. But Unidos US, remember that. That's La Raza. So it is a little bit terrifying to think about that. This is the time of year. This is the time of what we're into. But getting back to Jerry Brown very quickly, because I like to dispose of Jerry Brown. This cap and trade business, you're going to have Republicans voting for the trade. And people are going to be calling them names. They are forced into a position, by the way the law has been written by Jerry Brown and others, that they're forced to vote for it because it's the lesser of two evils. If they do not vote for it and it gets turned down, then all of a sudden your taxes skyrocket. Now, for those of you that have fire fees, how many remember the 2011 fire fee? According to this, according to what Brown promised on Thursday during his little rant, that's going to go, that's not going to get down. That's going to go away. Sorry, I mimic him. That's what he says, but you know, you don't know. That's right, he pledged that he will be dead in 5 years or something like that, so everybody needs to vote on this right now to support him. That's what he said. The other bigger issue that we covered, and it's a little bit more into the conspiracy theory thing, on the 7th, I went up to the Oroville Dam to do a little bit of research on the water levels and stuff like that, and I was with some people, and actually Warren was there. Warren was with me. And we hiked up to the top of the tower at the observation center, and I was going to take my little camera, my little iPhone, and take pictures. Not only pictures, but like videos. So it was like, you know, this is it. And I was doing this number, you know, that sort of thing. And so I was standing there, and I was looking at the camera going, what's that behind me? And it was a big plume of smoke. It was the wall fire. And I went, holy moly, we got a story here. It's the wall fire, and it just started. So we covered it. You know, we got into it in there, right, Warren? We drove down the road, and the fire trucks were coming down. It was real action-packed. We got in the truck, in the shade. Warren was begging me to park the truck in the shade when we got there. So I did. Right, Warren? So we get down off this tower. We go get into the truck. And I said, Warren, I'm really glad I parked it in the shade. I looked at the mirror, and the thermometer said 108. 108. So, but it worked a little bit, right? Because as we started to drive down the road on the way towards the fire, guess what? Temperature went up to 110, 111, 112. By the time we're in Oroville, it was 113. These guys are out fighting fires like that. Amazing. But this is the short end of the story. I started looking at the fires, and all of a sudden, Jerry Brown comes out immediately with this big thing about fires and the fire tax, and we need more money. And by the way, we haven't paid our bill from paying the local fire departments in the counties. Trump needs to pay. Well, it was on Obama's dime. And I kept saying, well, wait a minute. If Jerry Brown had run the budget properly, there would be contingency money to pay these people immediately. Isn't that right, Ruth? That's the way it works. But he hadn't done that because he's so out of money right now. Well, the problem is there's no money in the state. We're running short of money, big time. Cash flow is coming down to a big problem for him. Chris Steit's going to be running some more stories on this. He's desperate for money. But then I got the even bigger picture. I started watching all these fires pop up from CAL FIRE. And I noticed that on the 6th there was a fire. And then pretty soon I counted 17 fires. All these fires within about a 7-day period, all under investigation. There was one fire out of like 20 fires that I could calculate. It started June 25th in Shasta County, and that fire started from lightning. So then Jerry comes out, and he's pounding on the table about climate change on Thursday, about forest fires ruining California. And I said, let me go down that data sheet and look again. Now, I don't want to say my tinfoil hat was like frying off my head, but this is a classic situation of using radical environmentalism to get your point across. It's a classic Marxist way to do business. I'm not accusing people of starting fires, but the reports that I was getting when I started to investigate, there were a lot of drones flying around at each one of those fires. And they started out in the middle of nowhere. No claim of spontaneous combustion. So this is the Brown era. Welcome to it. Anyway, I think I'm done. Anybody have any questions? It's almost time for Applebee's. Bill, look at Larry's back there cheering me on. One question, only one. Okay, go ahead.
This ain't a question, it's just a statement that Brown said he wants the Highway Patrol to stop people on the highway and see if they're legal residents of Oregon or California, because if they're living in California and they got Oregon plates in their car, he's gonna fine them $1,000.
Well, I just got to tell you something about some of the Highway Patrol guys that I know. I probably really shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. They really don't like him. I don't suggest you walk up and say, Mr. Highway Patrolman, what do you think about Jerry Brown? I'm bringing this stuff up, and it sounds kind of really pejorative and stuff, but I'm saying there's a crisis coming with Jerry Brown. And, it's got to end well for all of us. And that's the problem. I'm raising really a red flag about the behavior that I saw from a man that really I thought was completely unhinged Thursday. Completely. So anyway, Agenda 21 Radio, next 5 minutes, it comes on at 9 o'clock. You catch the last hour, 10 a.m. Red State Talk Radio, we're live, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. nationally syndicated. So anyway, thank you very much.